This is a story about a husband who left his wife and son to be with his mistress, and ended up raising her 2 children while neglecting his own. Years later, the father pays a very high price for abandoning his family. The story begins with a lovely couple, Billy and Alina, who met in their youth while they were still discovering what love was. They fell in love at first sight and, wrapped up in a harmonious and peaceful relationship, soon decided to get married. From this union, little Austin was born, a sweet and joyful boy who completed their dream family. However, things began to change when Alina, dedicated to her role as a mother, began to devote most of her time and attention to the baby. One night, when Austin was still small, Billy tried to talk about it. "Alina, I know that Austin needs care, but I feel like we're growing apart," said Billy, looking concerned. "My love, he's just a baby and he needs me. We'll have time for ourselves later," Alina replied, caressing her husband's face. Understanding, Billy accepted the situation. He worked as a manager at a renowned building materials store while Alina took care of the home with care and dedication. However, as the years went by, the couple's relationship began to wear down. By the time Austin turned 12, Billy and Alina's coexistence was already compromised, and arguments and fights became frequent. Young Austin grew up watching the sad reality of his parents, feeling deeply shaken by the constant quarrels. In the midst of this chaotic scenario, Billy, disillusioned and tired of his marriage, met Cora, a seductive woman whose husband had abandoned her to live with his mistress. The attraction between Billy and Cora was instantaneous, and soon the two began an affair. On a night of celebration at Cora's house, she decided to open her heart to Billy and reveal her secrets. "Billy, I want to be honest and truthful with you. I have 2 children, a boy and a girl, and I need to know if you will still love me anyway," Cora said, with tears in her eyes. Surprised and moved by Cora's honesty, Billy replied, "Cora, I love you and accept your children as if they were mine. Together, we will be a family." Billy began to win the affection of Cora's children, who soon began to call him Dad. Meanwhile, Cora shared with Billy the details of her life, including the story of her unfaithful ex-husband. The irony of the situation was evident. Cora had become Billy's mistress, just like the woman who had destroyed his marriage. From that moment on, Billy stopped providing for his wife and son, instead supporting Cora's household and her 2 children, satisfying all their desires and whims, in the name of the love he felt for his mistress. The family balance that was once present in Billy and Alina's life was shaken by the overwhelming passion, and over time, the couple's relationship deteriorated even further. Billy was keeping his new family a secret, feeling happy in his own vision and forgetting about his true family. One day, Billy decided to announce to Alina that he was going to divorce her and live with his mistress. Alina asked Billy how he could be such a scoundrel, abandoning her and their son to be with a mistress who had 2 children that weren't even his. Billy responded by saying that he found a new purpose in life. His mistress was honest and truthful, and that was enough for him to make this decision. He already considered her 2 children as his own and loved them very much. He told Alina to move on with her life and take care of their son, who would understand one day. Alina was devastated by her husband's audacity, and they began to argue. Alina insulted his mistress and her children in front of Billy, and he, furious, told her not to insult the woman of his life and her children. They were already his family, and he wanted to be with them. Without mercy or remorse, Billy packed his bags and left the house. Their son was crying and said, "No. Daddy. Don't leave us. Don't go." Daddy. Billy, without any remorse, replied seriously, "You'll understand what love is when you grow up, son. Stay with your mother. I want to be happy. I want my happiness." And Billy left the house without looking back. The mother and son hugged each other, and their world crumbled right there. It was as if Billy had thrown a real bomb into their lives. A month later, Austin was leaving school to go home when he saw Billy playing with a boy and a girl in a park. His father was in moments of intimacy, showing love and affection to those two children. Austin saw his father giving hugs and kisses on their faces, and saw that they had expensive toys and clothes, much prettier than those Billy gave to him. Billy spent money on those children freely, and his own son was left aside. Austin went to hug his father, but Billy pushed him away, saying, "Get out of here, kid. I'm busy with my kids. Leave me alone. I want them, not you. They are my children. My love and devotion are now all for them. And only for them. They are my loves now. The loves of my life." This broke Austin's heart, and he left there sadly. Even though he was far away and hidden, he watched his father treating those two strange children as if they were his own and giving them love and affection. Austin cried when he saw the difference in treatment of his own father with him and with those two children. When he got home, Austin told his mother about the situation, how Billy was no longer helping with household expenses, and Alina decided to go to Cora's house to ask for her ex-husband's help. But Cora, now his wife, asked her not to appear anymore, that Billy was her man. Billy appeared at the door and told Alina, "Alina, get out of here. Cora is the woman of my life, and her children are my family now. I'm happy and want to live with them. They are my life now. Disappear and never come back here." Alina left humiliated and crying. That was the last straw for Alina. Back at her house, she hugged her son and said, "Son, don't worry. We'll overcome all of this together. We don't need your father to move forward. We'll win this together." With those words, the boy cried, hugged her, and stayed by his mother's side. 13 years later. Austin was now a famous man, thanks to his hard work and efforts. He had become a well-known personal trainer and bodybuilder with a muscular body and athletic build that had won contests and awards. Thanks to his victories in bodybuilding championships, he had his own gyms, and one day he was being interviewed on a TV channel. Billy, who was at home with his wife Cora and her two stepchildren, turned on the TV to watch a program and accidentally saw the interview. Cora and her children sat next to him to watch, and then the reporter asked who helped him grow up, and he thanked his mother for her hard work and dedication and mentioned her name, Alina. Then Cora and Billy understood that the person being interviewed was Austin. Billy began to get emotional seeing his son on TV and recognizing him, but soon it would all become a huge disappointment. The stepchildren were there watching the interview, along with their stepfather, who they loved as a father, and their mother. Then the reporter asked about his father, and at that moment, Austin said, "Actually, I became fatherless at the age of 12, my father died 13 years ago." Billy froze and was shocked by what Austin said to the reporter and exclaimed, "What do you mean died?" "I'm alive and very much alive." The reporter asked how his father died, and Austin answered firmly and confidently, "My father died when he left my mother to live with his mistress and raise her children as if they were his own. Yes, that's how he died. I had to work hard to get where I am today. Not because of the man who gave me life and abandoned me for a mistress and her children, but because of my mother, who stood by me all this time. She helped me grow up, sacrificed daily for me, while he simply died." At that moment, Billy was completely stunned and, with the support of Cora and her stepchildren, he became ill. The stepson said that Billy was his father, and nothing would change that, and the stepdaughter also stood by her stepfather, whom she affectionately called Daddy. The next day, Billy discovered Austin's phone number and called him. Outraged, he said, "You ungrateful son! I gave you life. How could you do this to me? You should have come to me to explain everything instead of doing this to me. What a disappointment." And Austin, angry with his father, replied, "You chose your lover and her kids over me and my mother, now you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. I never forgot the humiliation at the park when I was a child. I have nothing to do with you anymore. When you get old, ask your stepchildren and your lover to take care of you. Because I won't do it. You chose this. Now deal with it." And Austin hung up on his father. Billy threw the phone on the ground and screamed in anger. From that day on, Billy, Cora, and their stepchildren were not well received in that city. Everywhere Billy went, people looked at him and his family with disdain, made jokes and tantrums about Cora and her kids, calling Cora a husband stealer and family destroyer, and Billy's stepchildren began to suffer from bullying wherever they went, being called products of infidelity. So Billy and his family, tired of all that treatment and rejection wherever they went, moved to another city and tried to forget everything that happened there. The reputation of Billy, Cora, and their stepchildren was completely tarnished in that place. Austin, on the other hand, took care of and loved his mother. He was very grateful to the woman who gave him life and was there for him as both his mother and father. After a long time, Austin met a woman, married her, and had a son, promising himself that his son would never go through what he and his mother went through. As for Billy, he lived with his stepchildren and his wife Cora in another city, far from the gossip and the looks of disdain from the people of his hometown, after Austin destroyed his reputation with an interview. He never saw Austin again and didn't want to know anything more about him. Billy would have to live the rest of his life with the persecution and disapproving looks. They had to change their names and live in anonymity with their makeshift family, and incredibly, Cora and her stepchildren stayed by his side all the time, showing that he achieved his unexpected happiness, but at a very high price. They would have to be on the run and live like wanderers in the world, without a permanent place to settle. And Austin didn't miss Billy at all. He wasn't present for 13 years, so there was no reason for him to sympathize with a stranger who turned his back on him. Austin was very happy with his family and his greatest ally, the woman who gave him life, Cora, his mother. Moral of the story: bad actions always come back to haunt those who practice them, nothing goes unpunished by life and destiny, and eventually, the bill comes due. And so we end this exciting story. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to not miss any videos. Also, if you have been through a similar situation to Austin's or know someone who has, share your experience in the comments below. Let's create a community of support and learning where we can share our experiences and grow together. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.